The night was alive with fire and sea. From the deck of the barge, I watched the waves crash against the black rocks of Pharos, foam glowing like ghostly hands in the moonlight. Above them, a shape rose from the darkness, a tower of stone not yet finished, yet already towering over the world. It seemed less a building than a creature, its walls breathing mist, its windows like empty eyes staring into eternity. The men around me whispered prayers. Some called it salvation. Others muttered it was a curse, a challenge thrown against the gods. I said nothing, but in my chest I felt the truth. This was no lighthouse. This was an eye carved by mortal hands so that the heavens themselves might be forced to look back. And I, a mere stonemason, was destined to become part of its gaze. I still recall the night when I first stepped onto the windswept island of Pharos. The sea bellowed like a furious beast, waves crashing against the jagged rocks, while before me rose a vision unlike anything man had ever dared to build. A mountain of stone that climbed toward the heavens, unfinished yet already greater than any temple, any palace. The lighthouse, they told us it would become the tallest tower on earth, a beacon to guide sailors from the far corners of the world. But when I first laid eyes upon its colossal foundations, I felt something deeper. This was not merely a guide for ships. It was an eye for the gods themselves, watching over the endless sea. I was young, little more than an apprentice mason, with calloused hands and dreams of glory. Yet I knew, with every breath of salt and dust, that this work would outlast me, my children, and their children after them. We were building eternity itself. We were not slaves, as foreigners may whisper in distant taverns. No chains bound us. Many of us came willingly, drawn by the promise of gold, food, or eternal fame. Farmers left their fields during the flood season. Craftsmen abandoned their workshops, fishermen their nets. To build for the Ptolemies was to carve one's name into the bones of history. But belief alone did not ease the suffering. We dragged marble from quarries under the merciless sun, hauled granite on barges that creaked with every wave. Ropes cut our palms, our backs bent, our muscles tore. I saw men crushed beneath blocks heavier than houses, their blood soaking the sand. The priests told us it was sacrifice, that every life lost bound the lighthouse closer to the gods. Some believed, some cursed, yet all of us kept working. At night, when the city of Alexandria glittered like a crown behind us, our campfires flickered on the island like a second constellation. We sang to drown the pain, our voices mingling with the roar of the sea. At the tower's crown a great brazier awaited, and above it a mirror vast as a shield of heaven. They said it would capture the sun's rays by day, hurling them across the sea, while by night the fire would burn without rest, guiding sailors home. The priests swore this flame was no ordinary fire. They claimed it had been stolen from the temple of Hephaestus, carried in secret through the night, fed with oils and incantations. I remember the first time it was lit. The sea lay calm, as black as obsidian. Suddenly the night tore open. The mirror flared, the fire screamed, and a beam of light shot across the waves as though a god had thrust his hand into the darkness. Sailors fell to their knees on their decks, wailing in terror and joy. But the flame was greedy. Every night we hauled amphorae of oil up hundreds of steps, our shoulders breaking under the weight. Sometimes the fire hissed as if alive, sparks dancing like angry spirits. The priests whispered prayers, tossing wine, incense, even blood into the brazier. They said the fire must be fed, or it would devour the tower itself. In hushed voices we spoke of the chosen ones, those who never returned from tending the fire. Some said their bodies were burned in secret rituals, offered to keep the flame eternal. Others claimed the fire swallowed their souls, binding them to the mirror, so that their eyes became the light that reached across the sea. I once caught sight of a priest at dawn, his hands red, his eyes hollow. He whispered, "The fire remembers. It always remembers." From that day, I no longer dared look directly into the mirror. Few among us knew the passages buried deep within the base. But once, by fortune or curse, I was ordered to carry tools to the lower levels. The stairs wound down into a darkness thicker than the sea itself. The air smelled of salt, copper, and something older than memory. By torchlight, I saw walls carved with strange symbols, not Greek, not Egyptian, but something alien. One chamber was painted with stars, constellations that no sky above Pharos held. Another contained great bronze gears and discs, silent yet waiting, like the innards of some vast machine. The priests swore us to silence. "This tower is not for men alone," one told me. "It is a messenger. It speaks across the waters, across the heavens." That night I dreamt of voices echoing in the chambers below. Deep, inhuman voices, like the ocean itself learning to speak. Not all deaths came from stone or sea. Strange things began to happen. A sailor returned from a voyage blinded, swearing the beam of light had burned his eyes like the gaze of a god. A gull burst into flame mid-flight during a mirror test, its ashes falling like snow upon the shore. Some said the light itself was cursed, that the tower was no beacon, but a weapon, that the fire hungered not for wood and oil, but for souls. I too began to dream of it. The fire spoke to me, whispering of its age, older than gods, older than earth. "I must be seen," it said. "I must never die." When I confessed this to my master, he struck me silent. "Fool! Dreams beneath the flame are truths best buried." The architects aligned the tower with the heavens. The fire's beam pointed toward Sirius, the star of Isis, and toward Canopus, beloved of sailors. The priests said the lighthouse was a ladder of light, a way for divine fire to descend into the world. Others believed it was the eye of Osiris, blazing so that no secret deed upon the sea could escape his sight. Some swore that Alexander's spirit still walked the city, and that the beam was a call to him, guiding him back from the stars. And each night, when I gazed up at that roaring flame, I wondered, if the gods looked back, what did they see? One old soldier confided in me. "This tower is no beacon, it is a blade." He told me the mirror could ignite sails miles away, blind armies, turn fleets into ashes. I laughed until the day I saw it myself. Testing the mirror, the engineers turned its gaze upon the sea. A wooden raft burst into fire though no flame touched it. Even the gulls fled shrieking, their wings shimmering with heat. That day I knew we had built something terrible. Not a guide for sailors, but a throne for fire, a weapon of the gods disguised as mercy. Years bled into years. My back bent, my hands cracked, my youth vanished. Yet the lighthouse rose, tier upon tier, until it dwarfed even the temples of Alexandria. When the final stone was laid at the summit, the priests performed a great ritual. A bull was slaughtered, its blood hissing as it struck the brazier. "So long as this fire burns," they cried, "so too shall Alexandria burn across the world." I stood among the crowd, my heart torn between awe and dread, for I knew the fire would outlive us all. Now I am old. My bones ache with the memory of stone, my lungs with dust and smoke. I know I will not live to see the lighthouse fall, though perhaps one day the sea will claim it. But I do not fear. For every rope I pulled, every drop of sweat I gave, every dream the fire stole, are bound into its eternal flame. Sailors who see the light across the waves do not know my name, nor the names of the thousands who bled to raise this tower. Yet we are there, in the stone, in the mirror, in the fire that never sleeps. And when my soul departs, perhaps the flame will take it, casting me not into death, but into the stars.